So we've also got support areas as well, where we have accountants because we give out grant funds. We have human resources staff to hire and talk to students. We have program analysts and budget analysts. So there's all different types of degrees that you can take advantage of at EPA. So it's not just scientists, it's social scientists, it's attorneys, investigators, secretaries, budget folks, accountants, all of that. So let's talk about how you can get into EPA specifically. The best way to apply for jobs is going to be through the Pathways program. Pathways is the student internship and recent graduate programs where the jobs are advertised and you can apply for these positions with no experience. That's the big advantage of going in as a Pathways student for an internship or a recent grad. They will not expect you to have any type of experience to compete to get a job. Really, when you apply for those jobs, they're going to interview you to see if you're a good team member. And then they're going to select you for the position. There's going to be tons of positions that are opening up because of all the bill funding and the IRA funding that has been released by the Biden administration. So this is the perfect time to get into the federal government, whether it be EPA related or, you know, somewhere else like HHS. So this is a great time for you to get your USAJobs account ready and start applying for those positions. So look at the slide here. We're going to talk about recent graduates. Our internship program is more, it's for the summer, but we've already filled the positions for this year. If you're looking for a summer internship, you have to apply in January. That's when most of the positions are released early in the year. So the recent grad program are released throughout the year. So you'll see those pop up throughout the year. So these specific positions are for students that have recently graduated, and you can apply for these positions up to 2 years past your graduation date. So if you get a position as a Pathways recent grad, your position will be converted to a full-time permanent position once you have performed and got out of that probationary period of 1 year. If everything goes correctly, like you're doing your job and everything's going good. So we have engineers that are placed in at a little bit different grade level. So, and then if you have your master's degree, you're entering the federal government at a different grade level, and same with a PhD. I'm not going to worry about that right now because this is, you guys are in horticulture therapy. So this is what USAJobs looks like when you come to the landing page. So everybody that has their computer out, please go to USAJobs right now. I'm going to show you, you have to create create a sign-in. So if you want to go ahead and do that now, feel free to do that. I'm going to show you how you can search pretty easily. Let's see. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen here. Building a profile online. I hope you can see that okay. Let me just hold on just a second. Let me make sure. So building a federal job profile online. This is the most important part of you getting a job with the federal government. The first thing is you have to sign into USAJobs. You have to get all the information needed, like your transcripts and your resume. And then you have to set up your search criteria for the jobs that you would like to apply for. Now, in my opinion, I would probably search for any and all jobs I would qualify for. So if you have a scientific degree, then I would search for any and everything related to science. Physical scientist, maybe not engineering if you're a chemistry major, all of that. So go through and look at what you would qualify for in USAJobs. There is a PDF that's in USAJobs that'll let you search on different types of jobs for your major. So I would look at that, and it would probably be really close to a biology major, I would assume, with the science associated with it. So once you get that set up and you've got your transcript collected, your resume, and then you have your searches set up, make sure you load your transcripts in as a document and your resume in as a document. You can build a resume in USAJobs, and that's fine. I have heard from management within EPA, they like to see an individual's resume. It's a lot easier to look at than the one that you build in USAJobs. And also for your resume, make sure that you have all of your experience down. Any job experience related to, even customer service, any volunteer experience that you have, any club experience that you have, church, anything related to community engagement, customer service, team building, leadership qualities, any of that, that should go on your resume. So, let's see here. Next, you want to search for key criteria for the jobs that you're looking for. If you're looking for biology type positions, if you're looking for community engagement type positions, a lot of times community engagement is not, advertised, but with almost every job within EPA, we're talking to community and state officials. So, you're going to be doing some of that anyway, most likely. So when you apply for these jobs, that's when you're going to have your resume already loaded in, your transcripts loaded in, and you're going to apply for those applications. So when it says you have 4 days to apply, say the advertisement, it says you can apply from April 21st to April 24th. You can apply up to midnight on the 24th and submit your application. Do not wait to the last minute, because there are always glitches in USAJobs. So it's really important that you submit your application and you can update it. So say that you submit it the day before the application is due. You can update your resume and go through, make sure you have everything that you need and resubmit it. But when that job application closes at midnight on the day of the close date, you cannot update it anymore. So it's really important that you guys submit in time and go through the whole process. So most of the time, if you're applying for a job outside of a recent grad position, a Pathways recent grad position, you will have to answer questions. They're your knowledge, skills, and ability questions. And those are usually going to be fairly easy since they're entry-level positions. But they really want to make sure that you want to make sure that you set yourself apart from every other applicant. So it's going to ask you questions like, have you worked in communities with nonprofits on a regular basis? And you'll have 4 or 5 different options saying, no, I have not. Yes, I have. On a limited basis. Yes, it's been a main part of my job. Or yes, I'm an expert in this area. So if you've been working with Joy over the semester, I would say yes, yes, I have done this. It has been a regular part of my job. If you've been doing it for a year, you feel comfortable doing it by yourself and teaching others to engage with nonprofits, then I would say, yes, you're an expert in that position. But I would give myself the highest rating possible because you actually get points associated with each question. And those points will get you to the top of the interview list, or you could be stuck in the middle. So you want to make sure that you are truthful and that you select the best option that fits with your experience. Now, this is just for jobs where you're applying for positions outside of those recent grad positions. These are full-time entry-level positions, either at a GS 5, 7, or 9. And then you have to submit your application. Make sure that you submit and you receive a notice that says, yes, you have submitted your application. It is in progress. All of that's managed in USAJobs. The biggest thing that you can do is look at the job advertisement. Let me go through USAJobs and show you. The job advertisement is really important because it's going to tell you what they're looking for in an applicant. It has information about your knowledge, your skills, your abilities, your experience in the past jobs. So that one's really important. Let me pull up Environmental Protection Agency positions. Right now, there are 59. Let's see. This is what you're looking at when you pull up these positions. You're really looking at positions that are on a pay scale of 5, 7, or 9. I'm going to click on 7. It's in the middle. So if you're a life scientist,
I'm sorry, Jeannie, to interrupt, but are you wanting us to see something on your screen?
Yes, okay. Sorry. Sorry about that. So you're looking at the grade, and then you're looking at the life scientist, for example, life scientist position is actually in Atlanta, in my region, and you're looking at a GS 7 or a 9. That means you have pretty good grades and that you're applying for this position. And when you click on the announcement, you're going to look in these specific areas under duties and under qualifications. This is the most important information that you're going to look at for the job announcements. So what I have done in the past when I filled out applications, because these job applications go through a computer system at first. And then once the computer system sees your applications, it's going to flag you and it's going to say, yes, you've met the criteria, or no, you have not met the criteria. And then you will, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. You will be, there's a HR specialist that will review your application. And once they review your application, they could say, yeah, I think they do meet the criteria, but there are others that may meet the criteria a little bit better. So the goal is to make sure you have the duties and your responsibilities within that job application, those specific wording, that needs to be in your resume. So that's the most important thing about looking at the job advertisement and including that wording in your resume. So you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a resume for every job I apply for. Well, a lot of the jobs are similar and they're going to use the same type of terminology. Say you're going to be a public health analyst. It's going to use that term, public health analyst, maybe community-based organizations, specific wording that the federal government normally uses, and you're going to duplicate that wording in your resume. Instead of saying nonprofit organizations, you're going to use community-based organizations in your resume, maybe. So does anybody have any questions? I'm going to have to switch to a different Wi-Fi really quick, and then I'll be right back with you. Hold on just a second. So
While you're doing
Joy,
that,
can you?
Yeah. Yep, I'll
Can you
field
help
some
me out?
questions. But I'll
Okay.
also let you know that I'm recording this. I started late because I realized this is not my computer. So I had to pull up my computer. So it'll miss like the first few minutes, but I think when she really gets in the nitty-gritty, it catches it. So I will upload it into YouTube. Is that okay, Jeannie?
Yeah, that's okay.
And then I'll send the link out so that you all can access it at your pleasure. Are there any questions that you have so far?
She said don't call it a nonprofit, call it what?
Yep. So the question is, you said don't call it a nonprofit, call it a, for 10
She
points,
said community-based.
community-based organization. All right, you got 10 points over there.
The thing is, mirror the
Community-based
word. A lot of you are gonna be applying for internships soon. The same thing holds. Read about their site, read the job description for the interns, read everything you can, and then mirror their language. You know, in some settings, they call the people that they're programming for residents. In some settings, it's clients. In some settings, it's patients. Mirroring that wording shows that you have an understanding of their site, but also that you've looked at their site. So that makes a big impact. And again, when you're using their wording, then they know what you're talking about, as opposed to, seeing it and having to stop and think maybe what you mean, or thinking, oh, well, we don't call this that, or, so if you mirror their wording, it flows better and it'll make an impression.
Does that help? Yeah. And did you hear Jeannie? She just reiterated the community-based organization. Okay. Any other questions? Were you all able to follow along and create a profile?
One thing I would mention
good
too, really
job.
quick, is
Yeah.
One thing that I would reiterate really quickly though is that if you guys are applying for positions, like the other professor had said, is you need to read every single, you're using that wording that you need to get the job. Remember, it is a computer that is scanning through your resume at the very beginning.
So Jeannie, you were breaking up a little bit, so I'm going to repeat what I think I heard you say, and add some other things. So what Jeannie was saying was reiterating what Dr. Hartman was saying about reading the job announcements. And Jeannie was saying it's important that you use the language that they use because it's a computer. So AI is taking a look at this and scanning for keywords, just like we do in Google, or just like some of those AI apps. They look for the keywords. So whenever you're writing, whatever your cover letter, if it asks for it, or your resume, or whatever it is that you're writing in, make sure you use the same language, that you're mirroring the language that they use, whether it's, if they use the word nonprofit, then use nonprofit. But if they're using community-based organization, then use community-based organization. If they're using organizations that are historically marginalized, use that same phrase, that whole phrase, not a part of it, the whole one, because that's how they'll pull out who's better over someone who's good. Is that correct, Jeannie? You're on mute.
Sorry. Yes, that is correct. Okay. Can you hear me now? A little bit better? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, one more question. What's your position? Your title?
My title? Well, I'm actually the College and Underserved Community Partnership Program Coordinator. So CUUP for short. That is my position. I am considered an analyst. I actually have a chemistry degree from the University of Georgia. So at a part of my career, I was a chemist, and then I was a physical scientist. It just depends on the job that you get. So But right now I'm an analyst.
Yeah. Isn't that cool? You can end up as president if you're a recreational therapy degree. Okay, I'm gonna go off mute. I don't think there are any more questions, correct? All right, we're turning it back over to you.
Okay. So my next thought is, let's talk about your resumes a little bit more. Before you load them into USAJobs, really analyze what needs to be in the job, in the resumes. Resumes are really important to show somebody who you are. So because you can't see that person, you can't talk to that person until you get to the interview process. So what I would do, or what I have done in the past with my resumes, is I have broke each position that I've held within EPA down into a couple of different categories. I have my roles and responsibilities, and then I have accomplishments within that same job. So my role and my responsibility says what I'm responsible for, what I'm doing. So I'll give you an example. So with my current job, I am the Minority Serving Institutions Coordinator. And within that coordination, I am responsible for reporting all of the work that our region does to headquarters for all of the minority serving institutions that we work with. So what I have accomplished. So then I go down, I actually space down to a different area within that same job area. And I put in the accomplishments that I have done over the last.
Jeannie, I'm sorry. Are you sharing your
yes.
screen? Are you intending to share your screen?
No, I'm not
Okay,
sharing my
just talking.
screen, so I'm not
Okay.
showing you my resume. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would create a section that has roles and responsibilities, put that MSI coordination under that, and then I would create a section for accomplishments. The accomplishments is really what your supervisor or the person that's hiring you, that's really what they key in on. They want to see what you've accomplished within that job. So I'll give you an example of what I've accomplished as an MSI coordinator. So my MSI coordination has resulted in 8 different MOUs within the last 3 years. That's a huge accomplishment within EPA, really big, highlighted at a national level. That's a big deal. So another MSI accomplishment is attending the National HBCU conference and doing presentations there. That is also an accomplishment. I have not done the presentations, but I have attended. So some of those things, you have to, they want to know specific numbers. So if you are a producer and your job has been to produce, widgets, you have produced over 20,000 widgets. They want to see the actual number of what you've accomplished in that job. It's a big deal. So if you've written standard operating procedures or reviewed documents, you need to say, approximately how many you have done. That gives somebody a knowledge of that you can track what you have done, your accomplishments, any awards that you have gotten, and that you stay on task and that you are motivated to do your work. They can kind of judge from the accomplishments area, how good you are at your job almost. That's kind of what they're looking for is, are you productive and can you track what you have done? So that's how I break my resume down. I also include my education at the end of the document, but I do include all of my awards that I have gotten. Most of the awards that I have received have been through EPA. And then after the awards, I put in any training or certifications that I've received. So Joy, I'm going to ask you really quickly to poll the room to see if any of the students have done any type of training where they've received certifications.
There are about 2 to 5 people, maybe 3, 4.
So what kind of certifications have they done?
You want to
Have they received?
CPR is one.
Oh, that's good. Yep.
There's a lot more nods now. That's good.
Okay, good.
Any others that
Say
that
if
wanted-
in their job, say they've taken safety training at their job, even if they're at fast food or a restaurant, sometimes CPR and first aid and other safety training is required. So that's a big deal. You need to
So
put that on your resume.
So does it matter what type of safety training? You just have to name what it is, Jeannie? You're on mute.
Sorry. Yes. Name the safety training and any certificates that you've received.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what kind.
Okay.
Say that they have attended WSSU leadership training at the school
Mhm.
and they received a certificate from an internal training at WSSU. I
Mhm.
would put that on my resume.
So if you have come out to the garden and you went through the safety equipment training, I will issue you a certificate, a digital certificate. It won't be a hard copy. And then I think for those of you who completed your 10 hours, you can get a certificate that you did horticulture therapy session. So we can think about how to name that as a training or experience too, for you to be able to use that. Is that fair, Jeannie? Like, is that something, am I understanding how
Yes,
to
I
apply
would
what?
put,
Okay.
yep, I would put that in there. Like, for the students that presented at the National Environmental Justice Conference, they received a certificate of appreciation for presenting. I would put that on my accomplishments area instead of certifications,
Okay.
I would put that under accomplishments.
Okay. So if you didn't get up to your 10 hours, but you did like 2 or 4, we can still do a certificate of participation that you accomplished that you can put on your resume or something like that. So if you're interested, I will only do it for those who approach me because I'm not going to do the work if you don't want it. So if you approach me, if you send me an email, then I will, we can figure out how to name it and get it to you.
How many students do we have in the classroom that work part-time jobs or full-time jobs?
Oh, just about everybody. Yeah. How large is this
Okay.
class?
So this
When-
is a great opportunity for them to put any training they have received on the job on their resume. It's really important that, anybody that you apply for a job, if it's outside the federal government, they know what type of training that you have accomplished so they won't have aspect, or they can tack on to the training that you have already received. It's really important that, that type of information is included on your resume. So one other thing that I would mention while I'm thinking about it is a lot of jobs, something, kind of give a employee of the month or something for efficiencies. So in the federal government, we have continuous improvement. Everybody has continuous improvement. It's suggestions that are submitted by employees and they are considered to be implemented. So continuous improvement, just like any other position that you have in another job, even in restaurant, fast food, customer service. So I worked as a customer service employee throughout most of my college career, but I did continuous improvement ideas all the time and my managers loved it So that's what we're looking for as well. Suggestions on how you can improve a process, and evaluate a process, improve it, and then implement the ideas. That's really important, just taking that whole process and putting it down and then, making it work is the deal. It could save time, it could save money, it could save other resources for the company that they're currently working at. So that would be under accomplishments again. So right now in your resume, you have the job that you have, all the experience that you have working at a job. Then you have and that's broken up into roles and responsibilities, and then your accomplishments. And then within EPA, within probably most federal governments, they're going to ask you how much you get paid, either hourly or if you're a salaried employee, how much that is. They're going to ask you how many hours of work that you perform every week. So if you're part-time, you can say I'm 20 hours a week. If I'm full-time, you're 40 hours a week or more. So once you have that down and you have the title down and what your title was at the job, say customer service employee, then you're going to add your accomplishments and your roles and responsibilities. So after that, that's when I would put down those specialty things like your certifications, your training, any type of awards that you've received, any major accomplishments, and then don't forget to put your education on your resume. So after you've completed your resume, you've got it, ready to go, upload it into USAJobs. The next thing that you probably want to look at is creating a document that has your references on it. I would probably put in one professional reference, or a couple of professional references, and then at least one personal reference. I usually run with 3 different references when I apply for positions. Now, before you put somebody's name down as a reference, you need to talk to them about it and ask them if it's okay that you add their name to your reference sheet. If it is, you need to kind of give them a heads up that you're applying for federal positions, because the section chiefs or the hiring person will check your references. Every single person on your reference sheet, they will call them. So it is important that they have a positive, hopefully a positive, reference back for you, and then start talking with them about what they would say would be, something that they would say when somebody calls and asks for a reference. So, are you a good leader? Are you a good team player? That's a big one, big one. So it's really important that would be kind of reviewed, and you guys, because, the person that's going to be calling, they're not going to be asking specific questions like, does the person know about, science? That's not what they're going to ask. They're going to ask more high level, they take direction well, all that. Does anybody have any questions?
You may have this, I'll reinterpret. Go ahead.
You'll have to repeat it. Boy, I can't hear.
Mhm.
how, like, is there, I'm trying to use the filters to like narrow it down to what I see, but they seem to not be very narrow, but more, a lot of opportunities for this.
What words have you tried in the?
So
field?
he's saying that he's looking up for jobs within the field of horticulture therapy. And he said he's trying to use a filter, but it doesn't seem to be many opportunities within this field. Can you speak to
That
that?
is probably correct. You know, probably gonna need to look more in the social science type category. There's probably not going to be a lot that's in horticulture therapy.
And it may not be called horticulture therapy too. And I think that's what Dr. Hartman was getting at about what keywords are you using.
Yeah.
And before you go, if I can just add, a part of this too is playing the where the other person's shoe game, where you have to kind of think like how they built this system. And so the system is on a federal level, and the jobs are going to be more broad than just specific horticulture therapy or recreational therapy. So you kind of got to look at what Jeannie was suggesting with social sciences, kind of look at how broad of a stroke can you go to kind of see if what you do could fit within that job description somehow. And sometimes it's hard to know that. So I challenge you to even apply for things that interest you, that you may not have any experience in, but just kind of go through the process to see what you learn about yourself and about how the process is done. Dr. Hartman, you're going to add something about
You guys
keywords
could
maybe.
try things like recreation, could try therapeutic recreation. But again, I know back in the day when I got out of school, which was a very long time ago, I was obviously looking for recreation therapy, but in the state system, they were called habilitation technicians or rehabilitation. So you could try different words like that. But like I say, trying therapeutic recreation, recreation. If you're interested in kind of the EPA type or the horticulture type jobs, maybe even outdoor recreation.
And environmental.
Yes.
Environmental.
Yeah.
Yeah, mix
Using
it
that
up,
word.
try different words.
And I would even challenge you to go to the library. So your reference desk, they are experts in keyword searches and doing research. So even if you are blocked with, oh, I don't know what other words I could use, go to a librarian and say, hey, I'm trying to look at, yeah, I'm trying to narrow, I'm trying to expand my search, and they can help you think of other words because they have all kinds of tools to help them figure out synonyms to keyword searches that you can type in to help pull up anything that might be related. So hopefully that will help you. Jeannie, do you want to add anything
One
else
other quick thing to think about. Let's see. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey,
Oh,
you
actually,
can hear
are
me
breaking.
okay?
You are
Can
breaking
you hear
up
me
a
okay
little.
now?
Yes, there might be a
Okay.
delay.
Okay. So I've got this pulled up here for the different jobs that are currently hired right now that's hiring. Look at some of the things that are more general natural resource management type things. Could be outside recreation information. So the easiest way for you guys to get into the government, remember this, the student and grad button. So this is when you first pull up USAJobs, scroll down just a hair and you'll see the student and recent grad area. So anytime there is a recent graduate job advertisement sent out, you should receive it. So set up your search criteria in USAJobs and get them to send you all of the recent job grad searches. There's not that many released every day. And the big thing, I know that you're not finding a lot of horticulture therapy positions. but you can qualify for lots of other jobs within EPA and within the federal government based on your mathematics and science and other, other courses that you've taken. So it's really important that you apply for the jobs that are the recent grads and then the entry level positions so that you can get into the government. You can make switches around to different positions. Say you get into a job as a biological or a physical scientist. Say that you get into the job as a physical scientist and you're really wanting to work out in the field doing sample collection. So you're wanting to change your job, but you have to get into the government so that you can move around. In my 25 years working with EPA, I have had, a dozen different jobs, maybe not a dozen, but maybe like 9 or 10 different jobs where I have worked for short periods of time, up to 4 months, or long stints like 12 years. So, the goal is to get you in the federal government and get your pay established and your career level established. And then you are on your track to getting into the job that you really love and that you really want to do for the rest of your life. So the goal is to get you in the federal government though. So, go through and get all of the pathways positions emailed to you on a daily basis. Unfortunately, all those jobs close at a short period of time, and they usually have a cap, like 200 positions, 50 to 200 different applicants, and they'll close the job. So it's really important that you have your stuff ready to go as soon as those jobs come out. I'm gonna stop sharing for just a second. I'm gonna bring up something really quick I wanted you to see.
I think there's a question right before you do that,
Sure.
Jeannie. Do you want to go ahead and?
So like any job, that say you did any job on the site, you would be eligible for pension and retirement benefits that come with a federal job, or just for certain?
So if you get any of the positions that are applied for, are you automatically a part of the pension benefits and all that good stuff that comes with federal jobs in general? Or does that depend on which
Yes.
position you get?
Yes, you will get benefits. So as a recent hire, you should be able to get health care, life insurance, all the basics of, a federal job. So at the end of your probationary period, which is a year, I'm not sure, or if it's converted into another job, you should be eligible for retirement and any other, 401k savings and stuff like that. So it counts. All of it counts towards your retirement, time in service, all of that. So yeah, you get everything with that. I want to show you one quick thing because this is really important. This is one thing that I did not know when I first got into the government, and I feel like I should have asked the question. So let me show you this really quick. So when you're searching for the jobs, this is really important. When you find your job, say you found a physical scientist position and you're going to apply for it, you qualify for it, it's great. So the salary is a GS7 or 9. So that means that you could get hired in at a 7 or a 9. And I'll show you the pay of that in just a second. But the big deal is right here. The promotion potential. This is the most important part of what you're looking at for a job. The goal is for you to be promoted up automatically and get those high paying positions. And this is one of those. So you get hired in, say, at $50,000, and then within 3 years, you're making $80,000. So you get big jumps in the federal government and you get paid really well. the more experience you get in a short amount of time. So look at, when you're applying for positions, look at the salary that you're going in at, the pay scale, and then look at your promotion potential. So a 12 is really good. So I'm going to show you one other quick thing.
Can you
And
just
it's the
quickly, I'm sorry, Jeannie, can you just quickly talk about what the numbers mean? So you said 12 is really good. So if you go down, is it worse? Or if you go up, it's better? Like, what's the range?
I'm going to show you right now.
Okay.
So this right here is, let me share my screen again. So this is the OPM salary table for EPA Region 4. So notice at the very top, you see that this is for Atlanta, Athens, Clarke County, Sandy Springs, Georgia. See that area right there? And see that the effective date is January 2024. So every year they're going to put out a salary table, and then it corresponds to the GS numbers that you see on the advertisements. Now, all of the federal positions that are advertised in USAJobs are not advertised on GS levels, but they're going to explain to you what that is, or either Google it. You can find it. So to give you like an example, like I think some of the DOD, the Armed Forces, civilian jobs are not advertised on a GS, general schedule. That's what GS is. General schedule salary. So you'll have to Google that salary and see exactly, you know, what the pay is and what that means. So going back to the example of the physical scientist, if you get hired in at a GS7, you'll get hired in at $51,807 because this is the starting salary for that job. It's a GS7 step 1. So if you get hired on for that position at a GS9, you'll be making $63,369. So a GS9 step 1. So since you have promotion potential up to a 12, you will automatically be stepped up every year till you get to a 12. So I'm going to give you a scenario. So I apply for the physical scientist position. I get in at a 9. I get paid $63,000. That next year on my year anniversary, I get bumped up to an 11. And I'm making $76,000 a year now. Well, the next year, my year anniversary, I get bumped up to a 12. That's $91,897. So after I get bumped up to a 12 step 1, I start making my way over on the step 2, 3, and 4 area, and I'll get bumped up every year. Now, where it changes is after you've hit a 4, pretty sure this is correct. It's 5 through 7 is every 2 years. And then from 8, 9, and 10, it's every 3 years. So you get bumped up. You do get a cost of living raise every year. And that percentage is right here. It's located here at the top of the pay scale every year. You'll get a 5% increase of your salary. And it's the salary that you have that year. So say that you get the job at a GS9 step 1, and then the next year you're going to look, you know, say you get that job in February, and then your pay scale, the pay scale gets updated for January of 2025. You're going to get paid a little bit more for about a month, and then you're going to get your step up to an 11. And then after that 11, it's going to be the next year you'll get a pay increase, a pay increase up to a 12, and then you'll get your cost of living raise as well. Now, sometimes you do not get a cost of living raise. During some of the administrations, we just don't get them. And that's how it goes sometimes. So we just kind of are up to the administration of getting a cost of living or not. But I I hope that makes sense. Did that answer the question that y'all had about the GS levels?
Yes, I think so, Jeannie. Thank you.
Okay.
Were there any other
So I've,
questions? No.
I've got some more questions for you guys if y'all don't have questions there. So
Yeah.
how
ahead.
many students already have resumes? Like they have something that they could load into USAJobs today.
Okay, just about everyone.
Great.
For
Okay.
let me pause. For those of you who don't, do you have a resource to help you get to having one? Yeah. Where would you go on campus if you wanted help with your resume?
Right.
Okay, so okay, cool.
You can also go to Career Center. They're really good with resumes also.
Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you.
So how many of the students have a one-page resume?
One page resume, not the cover letter, just the resume. One page. Just about over half.
So do any students have more than one pages for their resume?
How many students have more than one page? Was that the question?
Yep, that was the
Okay.
question. Yeah.
How many of you have 2 or more pages? Or 1.5 or how many do you have? 2? Okay. So just one
Okay.
person.
So big deal. This is a life-changing moment right here. This is a big deal. So for federal resumes, you can include as many pages as you like. You do not have to condense it down to one page.
That's
It is
great.
important that the person that is reading your resume gets to see what type of employee you will be. So put all of your volunteer work on there. Put your non-paid work that you get, that you've done. Put in all of your awards that you have received. It's important. You do not have to stick to one page.
That's great. What were your comments?
So I took a class that we had a couple days, and it told us to make it at least one page. Bare minimum one page. One page.
Yeah. So Dr. Hartman wants to speak to that.
In that class, and also when you start working, how many?
They were just saying that they took a class where they said that they had to maximize it.
Meetings when you work with Dr. Coco-Ripp on finding a recreation intern, a CTRS internship, and in the 4301 class, they really push a one-page resume because that's what the TR internship supervisors are looking for. What she's talking about is applying for a government job. So know who you're applying for,
Yeah.
and know, do they want it condensed and to the point, or do they want details? And the government, the more details you put in, like she said, the AI piece of it,
Yeah.
it does key searches. And so it's going to be looking for certain words. And if it finds those words in your resume, yours might get pulled up to be looked at more closely. Does that make sense? Okay. But again, for TR internships, those supervisors want it shorter.
Yeah.
And they want you to highlight anything to do with recreation. They don't care that you worked at Target or Walmart or Food Line or whatever. But for the government ones, they want everything. So again, know who you're applying to and what they want.
Yeah, for industry, it is really important to keep your resume condensed down. But federal, just like Dr. Hartman said, it is really important that you are detailed and you can explain to the person looking over your resume what it is. You're competing with a ton of other people that have applied for that job. You have to stand out. Just think, all those people that have turned in a one-page resume, you're definitely going to stand out because you're going to turn in a 2 or 3 page resume. So you will stand out just because of your content in your resume.
Is there a maximum?
I haven't found that.
Unfortunately,
so like
5-page, 6-page resume when we're talking about a CV?
Yeah, mine's over 10. So, and I apply for positions every once in a while as well.
Okay.
And it's because I have,
words to make it longer.
Yeah.
yeah, but I have 25 years of experience with an agency that I have to highlight, and it's difficult to do that in one page. You know,
Yeah.
it's really, you're really, if you're doing one page, it's for an internship, something where, you know, the person's looking at tons of resumes, you know, and not using AI, not using a computer to scan through them. So I wanted to offer something to all the students. I would be more than happy to set up one-on-one, like a resume prep session with you and go over your resume with you to see how I can help with explaining all of your experience that you've done, plus your education, all of that. I'll be glad to go over each one of those with you and then see if we can get that loaded into USAJobs so that you can get ready to apply for federal jobs.
That's awesome.
She must have heard you.
Yeah. Do you want to put your email? I mean, I can send it to you, but just so they can have it right now, can you
Sure.
put your email in the chat or contact or how they can talk, and I'll
Sure.
open the chat
Mhm.
for them
Yeah.
to see it.
And it's a good idea to have multiple versions of your resume.
Yeah.
You know, you can have a version for you guys, you can have a version that's aimed toward mental health settings. You can have another version that's aimed toward community settings. And you take what you got on it and shift it around to put the things on the top that are gonna catch that interviewer's eye. So you might have, you know, you could have the shorter one for TR, you could have one for
Yeah.
that. If you're looking at mental health, you might highlight some, you know, psychology kind of things that you've done or whatever.
Yeah.
So again, you can target your resume. You still got a lot of the same stuff, but you shift it around to highlight the things that you want that person, that interviewer to see first.
Mm-hmm. And Jeannie, how soon? Oh, let me go ahead and open the chat. Is this offer of yours open, let's say a year from now, when they have done something, whatever they wanted to do, and they're like, you know what, I actually do want to go back to that USA
Yeah.
jobs. Okay.
Yes,
So
definitely.
keep it in your
So
back pocket,
yeah.
even if you don't think that
Yeah.
you're going to use it right away.
Yeah, kind of like Joy, though, I'm not going to chase you down. So, you know, if you're interested in this, you know, I want you to contact me, set up a meeting, tell me, you know, 2 or 3 days and times that you have available, and we'll make it work. But I'm definitely, you know, more than happy to help because, you know, you guys are our future leaders in environmental protection, really. Health and environment is going to grow, and social aspects of that, like an environmental justice and inequality, and trying to make those changes and ingrain this type of work within EPA and within our society in general. You guys are going to be there to do that. So I want to be able to help you get where you need to be and where you want to be. That's my goal.
Thank you, Jeannie. Are there any other comments or questions that you all have for her? And I just want to emphasize the importance of going out of your comfort zone to kind of look for jobs and look at it as a stepping stone. And yeah, just I trust that you know how to navigate your lives better than I do, but I'm just wanting to expose you to new opportunities and hopes that it's something that might be able to help you. And just to kind of give you some success stories, which I love to hear. So there's 2 that I want to share. The first one is I had someone who worked with Hope to Thrive, and she was actually, we had a connection with each other before I actually formulated Hope to Thrive, but she had asked me to give her a recommendation for a job. She ended up getting the job, and she ended up saying that the hiring person was so anyway, she really liked the recommendation that I gave her. But this job was huge. It's a 6-figure job that she ended up landing. And it was all because of the little work that we were doing in the community, which is a big deal. And the second one is the first time that we ever had this class, there were 4 students who ended up presenting to Jeannie and the Atlanta EPA team about the project that we were doing. And they were chosen, and this is what Jeannie mentioned, they were chosen like one of 3 projects to present at the EPA Environmental Justice National Conference in DC last week. And so you might know Talia Montgomery. Yeah, some of you are shaking your head, but she was the one who represented and presented. After she presented, there was someone in the audience who approached her about graduate school in environmental justice and a program that she did not have to pay for. And they were recruiting her hard. So I'm just saying that these opportunities do something that may be kind of like a little bit out, but kind of related, and and just follow it, just see like where it goes. Because it may take you to another path that you're like, oh, I didn't imagine this, but this is actually really cool. And I like it. And it could, put some money in your pocket or save you from having to take money out of your pocket. So just kind of think about that as you search through the USAJobs. And if I was your professor, which maybe in future students, when I team teach this possibly, I would require everyone to apply for each one federal job, just so you can have the experience. Because this is something that I think would be useful at any point in your life when you're like, you know what, I want a career change, or I want to explore something different, or graduate school. These are pictures. Jeannie, do you actually want to talk about
Sure.
the conference a little bit?
Yeah. So the conference took place last week in DC. This is a National Environmental Justice and Training Conference that is held every year. It's been going on since I think around 2007-ish, something like that. So it's been going on for a while. And this is our regional administrator. She is the highest level of leadership within EPA Region 4. Her name is Jeannie. And she was at the conference and saw the students speak, and she was so impressed. And, it was funny because we told the students, bring your business cards and your resumes with you, because you will be recruited after the, your presentation's over. And they were. We had like people lined up to talk to them about their research and about what their future plans are, and to get a job, to come work for them. So, I mean, it was great. So this is the students. These are the students that spoke. The 2 students on the end, they're from Benedict College. They did an air project where it was methane in urban settings and the technologies detect that. And then the gentleman in the beige coat, this is Kevin Mason, and he's from Miles College in Alabama. And then Talia is here beside Jeannie. So Talia did the horticulture therapy project, and she presented that. And I think everybody was so impressed because they had not heard of horticulture therapy. This is something that's new and something that is very needed, in underserved, overburdened communities. I mean, this is, I think this was like a game changer for a lot of people in the audience. They thought it was a great way to engage with community, and then have the community gardens and engage, like that. So her topic was very popular for sure. And then I'll show you another couple pictures really quick. This is them. They met with EPA leadership and they met, can you see Dr. Hintz here in the red coat? Joy?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Oh, you can? Okay. So this is Congressman James Clyburn, and the students got a picture with him. Just putting this on your LinkedIn page will be like awesome. This is a way in Facebook, advertising the work that you did and presentation that you did. I mean, they met a congressman there. I mean, that was a big deal. I have never met him before. This was my first time. So we got great pictures with Congressman Clyburn. And then we also met with EPA leadership, and we met with Mark Roop, and he is the Associate Deputy Director, which is 3rd in line to the top. So, this is a great opportunity for the students. They have a great connection with EPA leadership and can connect with them in the future when they see them, or if they're going to DC again, they can schedule a lunch and do mentor session. I mean, there's lots of opportunities for the students, but yeah, I mean, this was a great way for the students to meet some really powerful individuals in DC. So actually, our regional administrator had never met with Congressman Clyburn before, so this was brand new to her as well. So it worked out really good.
Yeah.
You know, this individual here, the student in the pink coat, so she presented in the 2022 cohort with the students. I took her, and she actually has a business in beekeeping and selling honey. And so she presented at the conference. And so she was a regular presenter, which is a big accomplishment as well. So having students create their own 501(c), do trainings, and create those businesses so that they can live and enjoy their lives. This is, an example of that, students progressing and doing really well.
And it all started because Talea and those few students started at the garden, and then with this EPA partnership, they presented to the staff in Atlanta. So that opportunity is open. If you want to present on some of the work that you did at the garden, to kind of get some presentation skills and to be in front of the EPA, it is open to you. And we worked together to kind of put those slides, and we had examples. So you're supported along the way.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
right.
definitely. We actually have a lunch and learn scheduled for next week. It's next Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. And so if you want some students to present during that lunch and learn to EPA staff, it's available. You can talk about your experience working in the garden and enjoying community engagement and all of that. So it's at 12 o'clock on the 30th.
And it's only 10
So-
minutes, and it can be like a group of you doing it. So
Yeah.
so if you're interested, just let me know through email. Yeah.
Yes. Mhm. Does anybody have any questions?
No. Thank you, Jeannie. I seen heads nodded, and it's kind of warm in
Well-
here because we were super quiet with the doors closed. But thank
Well,
you so
thanks
much. Yeah.
thank you for working with me. I had to grab my son today, so my husband's out of town, so that was not a planned event, but I appreciate everybody's patience, and I hope you got a lot out of the information, but I'll be glad to work with you one-on-one. So I'm here to help in any way I can.
That's awesome. And I hope that they will take you up on it whenever they're ready. So I know I will whenever I'm ready.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah. All right.
right.
That's it. That's what we're hanging on.
All right. Thank y'all so
All
much.
right. Thank
See
you.
y'all later.
Ciao.
Bye.